It's a free masterclass. I'll do my very best within 1 hour to tell you about, data management, why it is important, what the opportunities are, and of course, how for you to then make a transition. The company, of course, is Berkeley Data Strategists. I'm sure you all know that already. So who is the data evangelist first? Let me start with introducing myself. So hello, everyone. Firstly, my name is Ade Ajibola. Recently become a doctor, was given an honorary doctorate degree in business administration. I am the founder and CEO of Berkeley Data Strategist. I'm an award-winning, multi-award-winning data and analytics leader, certified for many years, certified chief data officer. I have over 25 years experience in this field. And that experience actually is not an experience of going for a training somewhere and then start training someone. That experience actually is within the industry, helping organizations across all sectors, work in finance, utilities, government, pharmaceuticals, telecoms, energy, oil and gas. I've also worked in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Of course, I've worked in the United Kingdom. I've worked with clients in the US and UAE as well, and Nigeria. And the work I've been doing there is to harness the full power of organizations' data. So it's not to train people. I didn't start with training. Throughout my career, I've been involved in leading enterprise-wide data transformations, implementing things like data governance frameworks, and helping to build AI-ready, ethically governed data ecosystems. I hold the CDMP and the DCAM certifications, and I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in engineering from the University of Sheffield. I also already mentioned my honorary doctorate degree earlier on. But beyond my technical expertise and industry accolades, really the reason we are coming in contact with each other today is I am driven by something that is deeper, right? A passion to see better representation in the data space. I know what it means and what it takes to walk into rooms where decisions are being made, and I don't see anyone that looks like me. So this was actually what brought the passion to start sharing my knowledge. So I can bring people who look like me into those kind of rooms. And that's why I've made it my mission to not just lead, but also to lift others as I climb. Through my company, Berkeley Data Strategist, and the work that I do with the Data Management Association, DAMA, which I will talk to you about a little bit later on this evening. I also do some pro bono mentoring work, helping organizations to mentor their staff and also to mentor people who have just recently made the transition and they need someone to continue to hold their hands. I'm deeply committed to developing the next generation of diverse data leaders, people who are not only technically capable, but are empowered. They are visible. They see them in the workplace, right? They're not hidden in the kitchen or at the front gate doing security work, ready to shape the future of data for good. At the end of the day, trusted data drives business success, but inclusive leadership drives lasting change. It's good for organizations to want to, use data to their own advantage. I think it's also good for people who look like me to also be part of that initiative. And I want to be part of that change. So that's what we are doing, and that is who I am. Who is Berkeley Data Strategist then? The company that I told you about just now. Sorry, I just need to put everybody on mute. I'm getting an echo. Alumni, can you please make sure that everybody's on mute? Right. Who are we as a company? We're a globally recognized consulting firm. We're headquartered in London. We specialize in the alignment of business goals with modern data-centric technologies. So we get involved in organizations and we help them. We help these organizations to unlock the full value of their data through tailored strategies. Things like data governance, analytics, information management, and some other stuff that I will talk to you about this night. We have these expertise across sectors. Again, these sectors are not different from where I personally work, which I mentioned earlier on. I'm not going to bore you with that. energy, telecoms, financial services, government. We have a team of specialists in the UK, in the US, and we have people on ground in Nigeria. Interesting things are beginning to come out of Nigeria for us. Some of it will be made public in the next week or two. We are passionate, of course, about turning data into strategic assets, and we are enabling, smarter decisions within organizations. We are making them to become stronger with their, regulatory compliance and being able to sustain, their growth. So their strategy to expand. In 2020, 5 years ago, I embarked on a mission to develop the next generation of data leaders, as I mentioned earlier on. And what I'm doing with this is to share my over 2 decades of experience in this field to make that happen. And currently, we already have close to 5,000 success stories. So what we are doing definitely is working. So what is data management then? What is this thing that I'm telling you that, it's a career for you to jump into? Firstly, data is a vital asset. It is the new oil. It is what organizations depend on to make strategic decisions. So data management itself is just basically the development, the execution, and supervision of plans, policies, programs, and practices which deliver controls, protection, and enhancement of value of data in any organization throughout the life cycle. The skills that you will learn can be used across any industry. You can see from this definition, it's about plans, it's about policies, it's about programs, practices, right? It's not about Python or Snake or SQL or coding or anything like that, right? Many organizations already recognize that data is a vital enterprise asset. Data and information can give them insight about their customers. They can better manage their customers. They can develop the right products, and then they can develop the right services for their clients. Then they can become more productive, right? It can help them to be innovative and reach strategic decisions. But despite this recognition, only few organizations are already actively managing their data as an asset, right? From which they can derive ongoing value. They know that it's good, but only a few companies are already doing this, which means that there's still a lot of opportunity for people to tap into, because more and more companies are becoming more aware that data really is the new oil, and that's what they should be managing, not developing projects or building systems. So that's why you probably see that there's a decline in the requirement for project managers and BAs in the market. And of course, there's too many of them anyway. So deriving value from data does not happen in vacuum or by accident. You have to be deliberate around it as an organization. It requires intention. You have to be intentional. You have to plan. You have to coordinate. You have to also be committed as an organization to make sure that you are managing your data as an asset. And it requires management and leadership. And of course, anything that is going to be about being intentional, having to plan, to coordinate, and then to have senior leadership being involved. It means that it is needed for a strategic reason. It then means that it's going to be a lasting effort. It's not something that somebody in the grassroots in the organization is championing. It's something that is championed from the top. This is the gold mine. If you don't take anything else from me this night, please remember this, right? Many organizations, they already recognize that data is what they run on. They need to have good quality data, right? But having realized this, only a few are already doing it. There's still a lot more organizations that are going to jump into the ship and do this, right? And the resource and the skills to do this in the market is very, very, very scarce, right? So this is a gold mine. Let's talk about some data management principles so that you have an idea of what it means. So I said that it's not about coding. So what is it, right? It's like any other management processes. It's not different from how you manage anything else. It must balance strategic and operational needs. It must make sure that the operations in the organizations and the strategic decisions that are being made, they are being aligned. Effective data management requires leadership commitment. Data is an asset, and it has unique properties, and we must manage it as a strategic asset. The value of data should also be expressed in economic values, economic terms, because of course, and they need someone to be able to help them do all this. That's what I'm getting into, right? Managing data means managing quality of data. making sure that data is trusted first time and every time, not having to analyze it every time before you use it. Again, you will see a decline in the requirement for data analysis as companies begin to manage data, to look at their metadata management processes, identifying data about data, and that making that of good quality from when that data is created, not having to be analyzing it when it is being used, right? Data management requires a drive, right? And it helps to make sure that decisions are being made correctly. Yeah. It depends on diverse skills. And these skills are very, very scarce in the market, as I mentioned, right? It has to be cross-functional. It means that in your role, you will be working with different people in the organization. It's not just going to be working with one area. You'll be getting involved in how companies are run, the strategies that they make, and all those kind of stuff, right? Data management must account for a range of perspectives. It means that you have to think about different things and consider those things. It's not about codes. It's about thinking about what is the next product for us to deliver as an organization. Who are the next kind of customers that we want? How do we get them, right? What data do we have to make sure that this strategic move that we are making is the right one? Data management also is a life cycle management. It means that you have to apply it throughout the life cycle of data. Data does not just appear from anywhere. First, it has to be created, then you can read it, you can then update, and then you can then delete it. It means that you have to apply everything that we're going to talk about tonight throughout the life cycle of data. Again, it makes it more interesting. It means that they need more hands to get this done. The importance of data management, if you don't already see it, it is becoming increasingly important for organizations to be efficient, to stay ahead of their competitors. And not managing data, of course, will lead to several risks. You will see some of them tonight, which need to be mitigated. So your job is to help organizations to manage these risks. Sometimes when they happen, they turn to issues, you help to resolve it. But most importantly, to make sure that they don't even happen in the first instance by helping them to implement the right processes, having the right structures in place, the technology, and most importantly, again, the behavior, changing the mindset of people in the organization on how data should be used and how data should be treated. Let's look at a particular situation as an example where the amount of data within this organization is growing exponentially for so many reasons. Social media, new marketing initiatives, the number of their sources and their online activity is growing due to new technologies, for example. If you think about what we are doing now, we're having a meeting. I'm actually, in a different country from most of you, and we are transmitting data. We are creating data. That's what data is, right? So assume that this data is growing, right? Now, we have a lot of data. It means that once you have a lot of data, you have an enormous potential to unlock value from it because data really can be used to your advantage. And that organizations then wants to then become data driven by using the data. And the number of the supervisory requirements in terms of law and regulation is also growing for this organization. Every industry is regulated. So it's not industry agnostic, right? So I assume that also, I've got some regulations here like the GDPR, the NDPR, the CCPA, and the ESG. If you don't understand those regulations, of course, when you join the full course, we will trash them all out, right? Then, because of this situation that this company has, they have a lot of data. They want to take advantage of it. They obviously then have certain challenges and they have certain risks to manage. That is your job, to help them to manage these risks. And what are these challenges and risks? For example, the processes and the structure, the quality of data that they have, of course, will be lacking because there will be errors, there will be mistakes. For example, it's possible that somebody on this call maybe have registered twice for the free masterclass, for example. Maybe they registered the first time and they didn't get the link. Then they register again. But we actually have sent the link, but maybe they just haven't got it. Maybe it's gone to their spam. So we have two people. But actually, they are one person, right? This is what the kind of things that are happening in organizations. And that is where you come in to help them, right? without having effective data governance model in place, basically making sure that every data that organizations use to make decisions has ownership. There's somebody within the organization that is owning that data, that is responsible for it, that is helping to set the quality parameters. There will be challenges and there will be risks, the risks of making the wrong decision, right? Again, if there are no standards within that organization, they don't have policies and they don't have processes. Standards are how to do something. Policies are what to do and what not to do. If you have data and you want to use it and you don't have these things in place in the first instance, you haven't told the people that are on board customers that every customer must have an email. So they're just using their common sense. Some people will then collect customer email, some will not collect customer email. So that means that you don't have a standard of what your customers' record look like. If you have customers in the UK and you have customers in the US, you haven't set the standards on how to collect the date of birth. 0106 1980 in the UK, it means the 1st of June. In the US, it means the 6th of January. You have to set these standards to make sure that it is collected in the same way. That's the only reason you can trust the data. This is your job to make sure that this is in place. Your job is not about writing codes. Helping around technology, the processes and the technology that is used. There's something called the data catalog, which again we'll talk about, is basically a central repository for us to collect all our data in our organization. And it is actually trusted in that repository. We have gone through certain processes, identified them as critical data. We have defined them. We have set policies in place, the standards in place, their ownership in place, and then they go into that system called data catalog, and we maintain it from there. That is your job. Again, behavior is also a challenge and risk that organizations face. There's frustration among people due to not being able to find the data they need or working with low quality data. They don't trust their data or they cannot find the data, right? Of course, that will lead to frustration. This is part of your job to help unravel this data. Where is the data created? Who creates it? When is it created? When was it last updated? Make sure that all this is documented and it's available to the people in the business that use the data. That's your job. It's not about code, right? The people experience a blind spot. They are just using the data, but they don't really trust it because there's lack of awareness and understanding of how data itself should be managed. Again, it is your job to go into these organizations to make them become data literate, right? To make sure that they understand the importance of data itself. So these are some of the things that you will be doing in organizations. On the screen here, I've got something called the Maslow's data management hierarchy. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you here is now you have technology and then you have capabilities. So a lot of people, when they hear data, they think this is what data is, the top part, the technology. They think it's about, data mining, big data warehousing and all those kind of stuff. Yes, it is part of it. But if you get that right, and you get this bottom right, these capabilities, if you get it wrong, that'll be a problem because this is the foundation. If the foundation of anything is not solid, of course, it's not going to stand the test of time, right? Yes, you can accomplish advanced data practices by doing data mining and all that, but if the foundation is not good, then it's going to become more costly for you, right? If you have bad quality data, for example, right? If you haven't set your data operations, there is no data management strategy in place, and you are doing technology, it's going to cost you more. It will take you longer to be able to extract value from data. You'll be analyzing it and all that. That's what companies have been doing for years. And they're walking away from that now. You'll be able to deliver less because people are actually spending their time that they're supposed to be using to become more innovative, to make the right decision, to give data to the regulator. They are using it to look for the data. And when they find it, they don't trust it. They have to then go and analyze the data and all that before they can use it. You're wasting time. You're not going to deliver as much as if you have good quality data. You need to sort out the foundation first. It's common sense. There will be greater risks as well if the foundation is not solid and you're just building on top of it. So organizations know now better that they have to focus first on the foundation. And this is what they need you for, to come into these organizations to help them do exactly this. The goals that organizations then want to achieve with data management are as follows: to be able to understand and support the information that they need across the enterprise, right? The information that their stakeholders and also their customers, the employees, and also business partners, the data that they need to make the right decisions. Your job is to help them understand it and to be able to support it to make sure that it is of good quality. Another goal that organizations will be looking for by hiring you as a data management professional is to help to capture, to store, protect, and make sure that there is integrity around their data assets. They trust it. When they say they have 50 customers, indeed it's 50 customers. They don't have Ade Ajibola, for example, who has done business with them 3 times and they've created his record 3 times. Or they don't have Andrew Jones as 2 employees when one Andrew Jones indeed has already left the organization. That is your job, to make sure that these things, the policies, the standards in place, they have processes to make sure that this doesn't happen. Ensuring the quality of data. I've spoken too much about that. The center of everything is quality. If data is not of good quality, you can't make sense of it. Of course, ensuring privacy and confidentiality of stakeholder data, making sure that personal identifiable information are protected. Sensitive data, you have retention schedule around your data. You have your processes to make sure that you are doing encryption. For example, you put data in the cloud. There's something called the cross-border data transfer policy. You need to have these things in place, otherwise you will expose the privacy and integrity of your data. Preventing unauthorized or inappropriate access is not every data in an organization, especially if it is an asset. Everybody should not have access to it. There are some people that they don't need to have access to certain data, and if they need to have access to it, maybe we need to control their access, maybe read-only access, for example, so that we know the people, exact people who are able to manipulate this data, and we have trained them. Again, your job is to help to write the policies, the standards, to set these things on how this data should be manipulated. Now, I say it is your job, but it's even easier because you don't have to manufacture it yourself. You have to engage with the people who use this data and ask them, Mr. Andrew, you are the owner of this data, or you are the one that creates this data, or you are the one that uses this data to prove our compliance to the regulator. How do you want it to be manipulated? Who would you want to give access to be able to manipulate this data? And then you document it. And then everybody in the organization is aware of that. It's not about coding. Ensuring that data can be effectively add value to the organization. Again, it's your job. And how do you do that? Making sure that organizations are focusing on data that is critical to every strategic decisions or regulation that they want to meet. The drivers for data management, again, to be your job to help reduce risks, some of the risks that we've identified there, making sure that there is oversight on our data, make sure that we don't have regulatory issues, right? Protecting the integrity, the availability, the usability, and the consistency of our data, making sure that it remains an asset. If you go and buy an original Rolex, you will not put it by the windowsill at night. Or if you just put it on your table, at least when you're going out, you lock your door, because it's an asset. You control the access. That's exactly what you're going to be doing. Once these organizations have defined that data is their asset and you have helped them to make it of good quality, you have to control who gets access to it, right? Improving the processes that they use to run their business. Systems don't run businesses. It's processes that run it. So it will be part of your job to make sure that there's regulatory compliance, there's data quality improvement in the organization, there's metadata management, the data about our data is being managed. Efficiency in the development of projects. Again, when you join, I'll share some of my practical experience of something I did in an investment bank, adding data management to their software development lifecycle to make sure that we are preventing, wrong data coming into the organization from where it is created through projects. Or, for example, making sure that when it is data that really should be created, we bring it under control. It comes under the data management framework. I'll share all that with you. Of course, helping to manage vendors. This is a big risk for a lot of organizations. They have contracts with different vendors. Some of them don't know when this contract started. They don't know where it ended. They don't know how much they paid. They don't know how much they're owing. So you may have heard about ghost workers in certain part of the world. Again, your job will be to help make sure that this is not happening in any organization under your watch. There's something called the DAMA wheel, which defines the data management knowledge areas. So this is the area that you should be learning if you want to really transition into this career. These are not come from me. I put it there. It's copyright 2017 by DAMA, the Data Management Association. These are the components that they've said that anyone that wants to manage data must be doing: architecture, data modeling, data storage and operations, data security, integration and operability, document and content management, reference and master data, data warehousing and business intelligence. You may have heard about Power BI and stuff like that. But again, it's not for you to become a Power BI developer. It's just for you to understand that Power BI is in your organization somewhere, what it is used for, and the things that you need to create to hand over to the Power BI team. Again, we'll cover all this in the main training. Metadata management, data quality. Now, data governance is placed at the center of data management activities because governance is required mainly for consistency within and to balance all the functions that we have here. So it will be silly. And most of you, when you called me or you've spoken to me, I would have told you that there's nothing called data governance, data management. It would be silly to go and say you want to learn data governance and not knowing the last thing here. You cannot be a medical doctor if you go to a medical school and then you just say that the only time that you are going to go to class is when they talk about when they talk about anatomy. You're not going to get your MBBS, doing that, right? Data management involves a set of interdependent functions, each with its own goal, activities, and responsibilities. And you must focus on all this if you really want to help organizations to manage data. I'm going to talk quickly around each of those. Data governance, basically the exercise of authority and control over how we manage data. It enables an organization to manage its data as an asset. It defines, approves, communicates, and then implements the principles, the policies, the procedures, and the metrics. It implements. If you don't know how to develop it in the first place, how are you going to then go on and implement? It helps to monitor and guide policy compliance, right? How we use data and the other data management activities. The scope of a typical data governance program will involve strategy, policy, standards and quality. Again, I'm talking about quality here, but I'm talking about governance. You see what I mean? They are interlinked. They are not mutually exclusive. Compliance, issue management. Again, issue management is part of data quality, data management projects, and also data asset valuation. The other components, data modeling and design. Basically, this is the process for discovering, analyzing, and scoping data requirements, not analyzing data, the requirements, analyzing them to make sure that you are focusing on the right requirements and the right data to make the right decision. The goal, of course, is to confirm and document understanding of different perspectives, right? Talking to people in the organizations and understanding their perspectives around the process of how they want data to be discovered and their requirements are able to then document it to help to lower support costs and increase the reusability opportunities for future initiatives, right? You shouldn't be creating data every time you want to use it. You should be able to create it once and make it discoverable. Let people in the organization be able to discover it so that they can use it, right? Then it becomes really an asset. And then, of course, the more you use it, the better it becomes. You don't have to create data every time before you use it. You save money. That's what you're doing there. Again, I don't see any coding in doing that. But I can tell you there's no coding to do that. Data storage and operations will be about looking at design, implementation, and supporting the places that we store our data, the storage, right? So talking to the business to say, okay, where's your data stored? Is it in a data warehouse? Is it in a data mart? Is it data lake? We talk about all these things. Is your data in the cloud? If it is, do you have the policies in place? Do you have the standards? How do you share this data? How do you make sure that when data goes in the cloud, there's a demarcation between your data for your UK customers and your Saudi Arabia customers, because you cannot share Saudi Arabia customers, for example, outside the United Kingdom. You have these things in place. That is your job. It's not about coding. The goal, of course, is to manage the availability, make sure that data is available in the right systems. Integrity, again, it's about quality, and then managing the performance of our data. Security, again, this is just about planning, developing, and executing security policies and procedures. How do we lock the gates where we are keeping our data assets? And how do we lock the gate? When do we lock the gate? Who should we allow through the gate, right? To enable appropriate and prevent inappropriate access to data, to understand and comply with regulations. Again, you'll be working with legal teams. They know the regulations that is relevant to the particular industry, and then you're asking them questions according to this regulation. From what you have just told me, do you have privacy policies in place, for example? How do you protect it? Yeah, that's your job. Integration and interoperability. Basically, this just describes the processes for moving data from one place and consolidating data together, right? The systems must speak to each other. The data must connect. You should be able to create data in the US and be able to use it to make a strategic decision in Canada. You shouldn't have to go and create US data, Canadian data. No, it should be one. And we cover all these things in the training. Document and content management. This is about controlling how data is captured, the access and the use of data, again, to ensure effective and efficient retrieval, to be able to retrieve our data efficiently and to be able to use it. Because if you have data and you cannot use it, then it doesn't really make sense. Reference and master data. This one is very interesting. This is one of the areas that I really enjoy the most, in my 25 years career. We covered this as well, of course, as a module on the course. Is basically to remove duplicates and inconsistency in data. Ade Ajibola, is he the same customer as Ade Tokumbo Ajibola? What are the attributes that we need to collect, we need to manage to make sure that if they match, this customer is the same? This is what you'll be doing there. It's nothing about coding. Data warehousing and business intelligence is about planning, implementing, and controlling the process to make and provide decision support. You are supporting how the decision is made. You are giving the senior management, the graph, the pie chart of the performance of their data. You are looking at how many data quality issues you have, how many customers don't have email, how many customers telephone number, for example, is not valid, so that they know the status. And that's why it's called business intelligence. Power BI, of course, is a tool that will be used, but your job is to make sure that every other thing that's in place around governance, quality, integration, architecture, all those things are managed. Then you give that to the BI team for them to develop the Power BI dashboards. Metadata management. This is just managing data about data, making sure that you have context around the data that you are using to make decisions. That is why every bottle of Coke has metadata, for example. There's a sticker on it. It tells you the name of the product. It tells you the time it was, the year of manufacture. It tells you, for example, whether it has an expiry date. It tells you the ingredients that are in that product. That's what metadata is. If somebody is going to make decision on the back of data and it's going to be a strategic decision, they need to have metadata about it so that they understand where is the source, when was it created, who created it, how did they create it, who has access to it. This is metadata management. It's not about coding. It's a part of what your job will be. Architecture. Basically, if you want to build a house, the first person you engage is an architect to build you an architectural impression of your house. It's the same thing that we are doing here. Before we, build systems and stuff like that, we need to develop our data models, conceptual, logical, and physical. We cover all this, and it is not your job to do that. The architecture team will do it, but you will be using those data models in the course of your job. For example, when you are looking at data quality, the process to make sure that data is fit for purpose, you need to have the data model to know that, okay, for customer, how many attributes do we collect? Just like a house. On the first floor, how many rooms do we have? So that we can make the right decisions. What is the size of the dining area so that we can get the right dining table? The same thing, right? We are doing here. You want to make data of good quality, you want to trust it, you need to have the architecture model. So you'll be working with the architecture team based on your data quality requirements that you have collected from the business, not the ones that you have manufactured yourself, or not the one that you have brought from another organization where you used to work, right? Data quality obviously will focus on things like, the most critical data. It's not every data in an organization that you need to focus on. The ones that are critical, it will be part of what you will do when you are doing metadata management to identify this. Root cause remediation, working with people in the business to make sure that they have resolved the issue that is making the data of not good quality in the first place, and they are doing it right at where it is happening, right? Not where it is used. If you want to kill something properly, like a tree, for example, you have to go to the roots. If you want to fix an issue, you need to make sure that you are fixing it from where it happened. There are some common data quality dimensions that we use within the industry. And I put them here. Accuracy, basically, any data that needs to be close to real life, the business will tell you, you document it, right? Or any data that is calculated. Turnover, for example, has to be accurate. It's a calculated field. The color of a car, a customer orders a blue car. The color, the car that you deliver has to be blue. Completeness, making sure that data is not empty. It's available. Any field that must be available for a business decision making has to be complete. These fields are the ones that today you see that they make mandatory. For example, you're applying for a job, certain fields will be mandatory. They must be complete. The same thing we are doing with data in organization. We are sitting down with the people that use it to make decisions to say, which of these data must you absolutely have? Consistency. Any data that exists in more than one place must be consistent. Mr. Adetokunbo Ajibola in one system has to be Mr. It cannot be Doctor or Mrs. in another system, because we will make the wrong decision, because we might think it's a different person. Validity, the right format or the syntax. I gave an example of the US format and the UK format in terms of collecting dates earlier on. You must agree the standard, which one you want to use. Or if you are collecting both, you must also agree any transformation rule that you're going to apply once it's collected to convert it to a particular standard. Otherwise, again, there will be confusion. You don't know whether somebody was born on the 1st of June or they're born on the 6th of January. Yeah, 0106. Which one does it mean? Uniqueness. Identifiers must be unique. Customer code, employee IDs, postcodes, country code, currency codes, all this type of data must be unique. It is your job to make sure that the business have set this as rules and policies, and it has been coded into the system. It is not your job to do this coding. It's your job to ask the business whether they want it to be unique, and then you communicate with people that needs to make it happen. Timeliness, any data that is used at a particular point in time must be timely. All you need to do is to ask the business to say, okay, this data, do you use it for a report? Does it go into an invoice? Does it go into a bill, for example? Does it go to a regulator? They say yes. Can it be updated? They say yes. Then it needs to be timely. Then you set these rules and you communicate these rules with people in the organization. If you still are struggling to understand what the career and the role is, after I showed you that DAMA wheel, which is the components of what the industry prescribed that you should have, and the knowledge areas, and which are actually modules on their own that we cover in the 8-week certification course. Let me show you an example of what a typical day in the life of a data management professional might look like. What you'll be doing, some days you are working with the business in understanding their strategy. Another day, you are helping them to describe their data, to collect metadata about it. Another day, you might be working on policies and standards to share data, to make sure that data that you have is shared, is used widely across the organization. Everybody is not creating their own data because finance has data and now marketing wants to use data. They go and create it again. You are wasting time and money, right? You are working with the business to make sure that these policies and the standards are in place and people are aware of these processes and they know where it is. You are ensuring that data is controlled. You are working with the privacy team. You are working with the legal compliance team to make sure that you have all the right policies and procedures in place to meet the right regulations that applies to your industry. Ensuring data is governed and owned. For every data that is important, you are making sure that there are policies in place, there are standards, there are owners, there are people within the business that own this data. Ensuring quality is managed. Basically, those 6 dimensions that I spoke about just now, you are making sure that for each data that is critical, you have agreed with the business which one is relevant, and you have written the business rules. Again, it's not code, it's just English. For example, if you have a customer and you want to make sure that their email address is valid, you can have your business rule to say for every customer, the email field must contain the @ sign and a valid domain, and the field cannot be empty. There's no code there. Write this down and you hand it over to the technical team, and they will make sure that that happens. Ensuring that data is protected. I've spoken about that before too many times. Let's look at the CDMP certification program. Yeah, it is a comprehensive training program. It is designed to equip anyone, right, with the knowledge, the skills, and the practical tools that is needed to excel in data management. It is the approach that we take here is practical. It is not about reading thousands and thousands of slides to you. It's not something that we are going to go and watch in a YouTube video and we are replaying back to you, or we are going to one Dr. Ade somewhere to do training and we are coming back to play back to you. It is based on the things that we actually have done in the past and what we continue to do in the industry, right? I've mentioned all those modules as covered in that wheel. We also have certain complementary modules. That's why our students are unique and set apart. This includes now AI data quality and AI data governance as modules, because now organizations are not just doing peer governance. The things that they are developing and their use cases is mainly based on AI. So, of course, they need people to be able to help them with this as well. The course prepares participants for the Certified Data Management exam, which is offered by DAMA International. It's recognized around all over the world. There are just a little bit over 11,000 people in the world with this certification. So if you have it, of course, it sets you apart. It shows that you have gone through the process and you understand the will, what they want, and why it should be done, right? So who should enroll? Anyone who can read and write. Anyone who's aspiring for a tech career without coding should enroll for this course. Data analysts, project managers, PMO analysts, everyone is welcome. KYC, compliance analysts, and these are sample of the type of people that have signed up for the course in the past and are doing well now. Even people who have never used a computer before. Basically, anyone who has a desire to upskill to a field that is not saturated, where when they post a job, 10 minutes later, you see 10,000 people. I'll show you some examples of some job later on this afternoon, right? The way we run the courses here, they're in cohorts. The next cohort, I don't think it's showing properly here, but maybe you can see it, but I really cannot see it anyway. My eyesight is not very good. The next cohort starts on the 30th of April, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for 8 weeks. Or the 3rd of May, that is a Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Now, I have to warn you, it's not just for you to just sign up, to just come and just keep quiet. It's for you to actually want to do this for yourself and follow the operating model, participate in the project and everything that you'll be given, right? So it's 2 hours per week. There's no prerequisite, as I mentioned earlier on. You prepare for the exam, you get mock papers, you get CV review and update. You work on a project so you can practice what you are learning. There will also be CV review and update. Will help you, will point you in direction of where to apply for jobs, how to apply, the strategies on when to apply. And once you land a job, we'll help with your onboarding, we'll support you, and on the job support. When you're actually working in the field, we're not going to leave you alone. One thing is to get a job, another thing is to then lose it. This is where the mentorship comes in. This is where the strength of someone who has risen to the highest level, the CDO office, somebody who has done it for over 2 decades, will be there to guide you, right? Not some people who are just going to go and watch YouTube and they're deceiving you. The investment from your side, depending on where you are in the world, is £1,000 for the UK. If you're in the US, it's $1,200. If you're in Nigeria or anywhere else in the world, we have people from Ghana, for example, they prefer to pay naira. I don't know why. It's 2.2 million. In the UK, you can pay full payment, one-time payment, or you can do 2 installments, bank transfer or card. You can do 3 installments with Klarna. You can do 4 installments with ClearPay. If you're in the US and Canada or Nigeria, anywhere else, it's only 2 installments that you can do. So the next steps really, before we go on and I talk more, I want to invite some people who have recently gotten a role to share their experience, how they found it, and then I'll take some questions from the audience. I don't know who's joined the call already. Who do I have? Ijoma, are you on the call?
Yes, Dr. Ade. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know what's wrong with my camera. I've been trying to deal with this for now.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's
Okay.
speak.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ijoma. I prior to this, I used to in Nigeria before I moved to the UK. I used to work within the Nigerian film industry. Then before I came to the UK to do my master's, and then afterwards, I went into like the healthcare sector, where I wasn't really happy about what I was doing because I was being micromanaged a lot, and at the end of the day, I was still like struggling with my bills basically, and I understood that something had to give. I wanted to get a job that pays well because I was one of those people who just felt I don't want to be one of those people that come from Nigeria to the UK and I still cannot live well. And I just feel it doesn't make any sense. And for me to be, not to be living as good as I would have been living if I'm in Nigeria. So what's the need of coming abroad? That's just my own mentality. So I first started out by, trying to see which courses I could take. I had friends who were advising me that I should try and, look for upskilling courses and things of the sort. I had some other options within the data analysis and business analysis side of things because I did business analytics in my master's for my master's. So I was thinking, okay, let me just do data analysis of skilling. There was a lot of courses out there, a lot of people offering um, that data analysis thing. And I even had a friend who had gone for one. It took them 6 months and all that. And I just thought to myself, oh, I'm on a graduate visa. I don't have this amount of time to come and spend 6 months before I now start to look for jobs. And if you understand the job market, you find that some employers don't really like somebody who has spent a lot of time and just has a few more months left on their visa and things of the sort. So I just thought I needed something that would be sharp, sharp, if that makes any sense, but still will help me pay well. I didn't know anything about data management. I didn't know anything about data governance. I've never heard of it. But because I had been looking through, this business analysis and project management and data analysis of scaling people on Instagram. And if you understand all these social media platforms, sometimes Instagram especially will start to recommend similar things to what you are looking for. So that was exactly what happened with Berkeley Data Strategies. The ad just popped up to me. And then I now watched it. I was like, oh, certified this. I was like, what does this mean? It still didn't make any sense to me. So I just followed them first. I just said, let me just follow them. I was already, they were like my last choice. I had those other data management people were like my first choice and everything because I felt like, oh, I knew somebody who had gone on one of those courses and everything, or maybe it works. So I kind of attended one of their own master class, and it felt to me like they were coaching me to pay money. That's just how it felt. It didn't feel like, like how it didn't feel organic. Let me just make it that way. So I still said, I don't understand this data management. So one day I just decided that let me just find out about this thing. I've never told Dr. Ade this, but I went to start researching about him on my own. I didn't call him or anything. I followed him on LinkedIn. I checked out all his posts. I watched his videos. I I went to go and I saw one article about him. This story he told at the time he was just it was 20 years, um 2 decades that he had, but now he's even had more number of years added to that already. So at that time he explained the vision he had, why he thought that this should be something that he should help our people with, and things of the sort. And I was like, okay, this person that has had more, a lot of time living in the UK, studying here, doing, and I have a friend who is like is an engineer. I just feel like I understand how engineers think. So for this man to be an engineer, there's a word they just think. I just then said, okay, okay, sorry, okay. I now said, okay, let me reach out to him. So I reached out to him. I sent him a message on WhatsApp, and I asked him, okay, sir, did you say you're going to teach AI and Power BI? He was like, yes. I said, okay, that's it for me. And then I made the commitment to join the course. After we finished the course, I think in the first month or so, we did our CV prep and everything. And I put in my CV today, and the very next day I got a call from a recruiter. So they asked me if I could drive to Cumbria, and I was like, no. So that was the reason why I didn't get ahead with that one. After the end of the course, by the second month, I had gotten a call from another recruiter, and then I made it to the second stage of the interview before I was dropped. On my second interview, I then landed a job, which was by the 28th of March, because I was in the January cohorts. So by March, I had landed my second interview, which is now the job I'm about to go and start next month. And what I just want to say is that Dr. Day is somebody who knows how to explain things with real world examples in a way that even a baby can understand it. But what is most dear to me is the support and the kindness that he shows. It's not really about you just going to pay money to somebody who is going to upskill you. There's some people that look for somebody that has empathy. If you're looking for somebody that has empathy, who will have your time, Dr. Day is that person. There's no time you will call him. Of course, I believe people will be reasonable not to call him at other hours, but I just think that there's no time I've called Dr. Day that he does not show me the kind of attention that I need for whatever I'm calling him for. Even Mr. James, he was on here before, he's like the recruitment expert. The advice that he gives me, the tips that he gave to me, I applied them with my interviews, and it was like, wow, when I did my presentation for this job I did, they had no questions to ask me. They were like, oh, that this presentation I've done, that is so good. All they just had to give was positive feedback. And I was even surprised at myself because I didn't even think I had done anything spectacular. So I just believe that if you really want to do this, take the course seriously. I what I did was I always watch the videos over, and after the lectures, I go back and watch the videos over and over and over and over again. And it really helped me. And I believe that if you do this, I don't think that there's any way you're going to
Okay.
regret it. Okay,
Okay.
thank you, sir. Sorry.
All right. Sorry, I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to cut you short, but that's fine. I know
No,
you have a
it's
lot of
okay, sir. Yeah.
you have a lot to say. I think there are two things
Yes,
that
I
for me,
do.
stand out there. Yes, I think you really. I'm glad that you did your investigation. You have to check, people out. There's a lot of people. Someone called me this evening before we started and said, I thought I'd pick up because he said, can he switch to camera? I was like, why do you want to switch to camera? Well, you haven't seen enough of my face on social media. He said no, that he has fallen into victim of people before and stuff like that. I've also been told about somebody that was saying 10 people that was going to teach them data governance and they paid money, and then the guy, the night before they are supposed to start, he then sent them a message that his wife had died trying to have twins. So
Wow.
the twins died and the wife died, so he can't do the course. He just switched off his phone, and the guy has disappeared. It's gone into thin hair.
Wow.
I've also obviously come across some dodgy, funny people on social media myself, saying that teaching people how to transition to tech when some of them are even sending me message themselves. Anyway, so that's fine. And I think for you again, you were also able to land a role that comes with sponsorship. So again,
Yes, yes.
that is a big win. A lot of people
Yes, I
feel
also
like
like to add that I doubled my end, like what I was being paid before. I've doubled my pay now, and I'm working in a senior role as a senior data. I'm going to be working as a senior data quality analyst. I needed to put that on there.
that's fine.
Yes.
So a lot of people are looking for sponsorship and stuff like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
obviously very, very possible. The skill is not activated. It's not one that is available everywhere. So thanks, Ijama. Monsurat,
Yes, sir.
Good
Do have
evening,
no thoughts
Dr.
on call?
Ade.
Good evening, Consuela. How are you?
I'm
Please,
fine,
can you
thank
just make
you.
it 1 minute, please? Each time has
Obviously.
look,
No, 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 no,
each
no,
time
no.
has use your life,
Good evening,
lifeline.
everybody. Excuse me. Sorry, I've got my little boy here stressing. So, good evening,
Okay.
everybody. My name is Monsurat. Not to take your time because I'm not here to sell anything to you. We don't sell things to people at BDS. But yeah, firstly, I would say congratulations to everybody on this call, at least for joining this masterclass. You are on your way to choosing a good career path and just getting a different life entirely. So apparently, I am a BDS ex-alumni from 2024. I joined last year, and then in the space of 1 year, I can categorically tell you that I've landed at least 3 roles in the space of 1 year. So what I'm just going to say to everybody is please put in your best. You will get value for your money. That I'm very sure. You will get value for your money. But I was thinking at this point that Mr. Ade would have, sorry, Dr. Ade would have increased the price because even when we did hers, we paid the same amount. So one thing I'll guarantee you is you will get value for money. You will get the support and you're just on a good career path because trust me, data is the new oil money. Believe me, you can get close to a 6 digit figures salary.
Okay.
And
Thank you very much. Thank you for the feedback. Time is going. I don't want to waste people's time. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
welcome, sir.
Lorenta. Now Lorenta on the call.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining. Just to top up what the other alumni have mentioned. I joined last year as well, and I transitioned. I was the product analyst, and I was introduced to Mr. Ade, and it's been so wonderful. I mean, in terms of the courses, in terms of the support, the pre and the post, or even when you're on the job, when I have issues, I run to Mr. Adi. I don't understand what it is, and he just help you out like that. So you're in safe hands, like everyone have said. So don't be scared. And when I would say when you're in the class, ensure you participate. I was one of the ones people that I always turn on my camera to watch and I always volunteer to do some, even I don't know what to do, but I volunteer to do it. And then I learn because once you volunteer, I want to be a team leader. I just want to do everything. Even though when I don't know what I'm doing, I just keep trying to do it. Then I fail and I learn from failing like that. So that would be my advice to everyone. You are in safe hands. Mr. Ade will not ditch you. It's going to help you. Like call him any time of the day. He will always respond to you and is there to hold your hand. So thank you very much again, Dr. Adi.
Thanks, Lorenta. Yes, of course. We are not part-time trainers or mentors here. This is what we do full time. Of course, we are doing that of passion. So when you call, we have to answer. We are not at work trying to do the same job as the people that we are training. And you will definitely not meet me at any interview of any job that you are going to be applying for. Rachel.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Ade. Um, so I think everyone has said, everything. And really, all I'm just going to say is just take this very seriously. I joined BDS last year, and the experience, during the training was awesome. Dr. Ade, very, very simplistic and practical in his delivery of the content. And after I landed my role, I currently I work as a lead, data governance and strategic data lead, and it's quite a senior role, so a very strategic role. And I couldn't have done this without the help of Dr. Ade. Dr. Ade helps throughout the interview process, and even on the job, he's always responsive. So you're in very good hands, and you wouldn't regret it. Training with BDS. The sky is just the starting point for you, really.
Thank you, Rachel. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude, but thank you. Jennifer.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Jennifer. I am a certified data management professional. Mr. Ade, please, you permit me. It's not possible to talk about my experience with BDS under 1 minute because it's been an amazing experience. So I was a part of the March 2023 cohort, and it's been an amazing journey since I joined the BDS family, and I was shown to light. I always say shown to light because prior to the training, I knew nothing about data, and I was directed in the right part of the data management world by the evangelist himself. I remember I reached out to Mr. Ade before taking the course because I was referred by someone and I was a bit skeptical about taking the course because I felt like I needed to have like data background. And Mr. Ade really reassured me everything would be taught from the scratch. Like I would not just be taught what I need to know, but like I would be taught from the scratch in a way a layman would understand. And he kept to his word. And after my training, I sat for my CDMP exam and I passed in one sitting, which says a lot. Like you are going to be shown and taught everything that you need to know. And one thing I love about BDS is it's not just about completing the course, but preparing you for what comes next, like after the training. So the job search process, looking back, like I honestly do not regret taking this step. If there's anything I regret is the fact that I didn't even take it earlier enough or sooner enough. And I'm really excited. I gained the necessary transferable skills that landed me a role in the field, and I'll forever be grateful to Dr. Ade, the entire BDS team. So, to anyone who is having doubts or who is like me thinking maybe they should take the course or not, if it's for them or not, to be honest, I don't think there should be a second option other than to enroll because it's something like you will always be happy for yourself that you've done. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Ade, Dr. Ade. Sorry.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for cutting it short. Thank you.